Hi everyone, I am Sanjay Lad. Welcome to one more video of Special Biotonic. In today's session, we'll talk about molecular basis of inheritance, and in this chapter, we'll talk about replication of DNA. Now students, before we start with replication of DNA, I request you all to like my channel, share it and subscribe it. Now let us start with replication of DNA. Now students, the first question which we get in our mind is, what is the site of replication in eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cell? Now we have done these two diagrams in one of the previous video called as central dogma of molecular biology. Now what central dogma of molecular biology says is that there is a flow of information from DNA to RNA and RNA to proteins. And in the same video we also talked about the formation of DNA from DNA is called as replication, formation of DNA to RNA is called as transcription, and formation of proteins from RNA is called as translation. Sometimes RNA is also converted to DNA, that process called as reverse transcription. Now here, in case of eukaryotic cell, the replication occurs inside the nucleus. Now nucleus as such is absent in prokaryotic cell. So in prokaryotic cell, the replication occurs inside the cytoplasm. Now students, the second question which come in our mind is why replication is required. Now look at this cell, you can see the cell with nucleus, cytoplasm, nucleus, nucleoplasm, and we can see the two sets of chromosome here. Now when this cell undergo mitosis, what will happen? Now if you take an example of say human cell has around 46 chromosome. When this human cell with 46 chromosome undergo mitosis, and if you presume that there is no replication of DNA, what will happen? We get a daughter cell with half the number of chromosome as compared to parent cell. So here the chromosome numbers are reduced to half due to lack of replication of DNA. If there is no replication further, what will happen? We will get further chromosome number reduced to say 11.5. So every generation, what is happening? Daughter cells are receiving less and less number of chromosomes. So in order to maintain chromosome number constant, we require replication. So if you see these diagrams, the parent cell forms two daughter cells here with same number of chromosome as that of parent cell. So in order to maintain chromosome number constant, replication is required. Now second question which we get is where the replication occurs or when it occurs in the cell cycle. Now we know that cell cycle is divided into interphase and M phase. Now this interphase is further divided into G1, S and G2, whereas M phase is further divided into karyokinesis and cytokinesis. Now it is S phase in which there is a duplication of DNA. S phase stands for synthetic phase. Students, before we start with replication of DNA, let us understand some of the terms. Now these terms we have done in one of the previous video, that is structure of DNA. You can watch that video. Now we know that nucleotides are made up of two types, ribonucleotides and deoxyribonucleotides. Now ribonucleotides are the part of RNA, whereas deoxyribonucleotides are the part of DNA. Now whether it is a ribonucleotides or deoxyribonucleotides, they are made up of same units, that is base, sugar and phosphates. Now nitrogen bases in the RNA are AGCU, whereas nitrogen bases in the DNA are AGCT. Sugar in the RNA is ribosugar, whereas sugar in the DNA is deoxyribosugar. Now these nucleotides in case of RNA are, now these are the nucleotides of RNA and these are the nucleotides of DNA. Now students, we should know what are the full form of these units. So here AMP stands for adenosine monophosphate, adenosine diphosphate, adenosine triphosphate. Now there is a prefix D is attached to these compounds. So here DAMP stands for deoxyadenosine monophosphate, deoxyadenosine diphosphate, deoxyadenosine triphosphate. Now similarly, the second row is deoxycytidine monophosphate, cytidine diphosphate, deoxycytidine triphosphate. Then deoxyguanosine monophosphate, diphosphate and triphosphate, and then deoxythymidine monophosphate, diphosphate and triphosphate. Now we are concerned with right part of the nucleotides because these are the nucleotides which are actually going to form the structure of DNA. Now students, the process of replication is very easy to understand. Now this is double-stranded DNA. The two strands are anti-parallel to each other. Now the dimensions are one strand is 5' to 3', other is 3 to 5'. Now the first step in replication is double-stranded DNA is current to single-stranded DNA. Now each strand of the DNA acts as template, and based on the sequence of this template strand, new strand is formed. So these are single-stranded DNAs. So here the notation is dsDNA stands for double-stranded DNA, whereas ssDNA stands for single-stranded DNA. Each strand of the DNA acts as template, and based on the template, the new strands are formed. Now here these are double-stranded daughter DNAs are formed. Now there's a question which should arise in our mind is, though the DNA is made up of hydrogen bonds, the two strands of the DNA are joined by hydrogen bonds, is it easy for us to break these hydrogen bonds? So please guess the answer and give your comment in the comment section below. Now this is a same double-stranded DNA which is going to form the single-stranded DNA. After duplication of DNA, these are the two daughter DNA strands are formed. Now here, this is a semi-conservative mode of replication. Now the concept of semi-conservative mode of replication was given by Michelson and Stahl, and they proved that the DNA replication is semi-conservative. Now semi means half, conservative means conserved. Now here, out of two daughter strands which are formed, one is like a parent and second is the newly formed. In the second case, this is a parental strand and this is a newly formed strand. So in case of double-stranded DNA, which is formed at the end of duplication, one is old and one is new. Here also one is old and one is new. As half of the DNA is conserved, therefore it is called as semi-conservative mode of replication, and this concept was given by Michelson and Stahl. We'll see about it in the next video. Now students, the concept of replication is based on complementary base pairing. Now the concept of complementary base pairing was given by James Watson and Francis Crick, and they also put forth the concept of replication while they proposed the structure of DNA. What they said is, once you know one strand of DNA, we can easily write other strands of the DNA. Now this is a favorite questions in all types of competitive exam, whether it is NEET or MST CET or any competitive exam in your life. Now they will give you one strand of DNA with say some direction 5' to 3', and they will give you options A, B, C and D. Now you have to guess which of this strand is actually complementary to this. So I highly recommend you to solve this example and give your answer in the comment section below. Now students, this is the structure of DNA. Now we know that DNA is a polymer of deoxyribonucleotides which are kept one above another to form say polynucleotide structures. Now these nucleotides are joined together by phosphodiester bonds. So these are the phosphodiester bonds. Now this is the other strand of DNA which is anti-parallel, and the nucleotides are joined together by phosphodiester bonds. Now the nitrogen bases in the DNA are joined by hydrogen bonds. Now in case of DNA, A pairs with T with 2 hydrogen bonds, C pairs with G with 3 hydrogen bonds. Now the two strands of DNA are anti-parallel, that is one is 5 to 3, second is 3 to 5. Now what is important for our discussion today is that whenever there is a polymerization of DNA, the DNA polymerase enzyme, which we are going to learn about this in later part of this video, it requires 3' hydroxyl group free so that it can form the DNA further. So I want you to remember this term, that is the 3' hydroxyl group of this sugar should be free for replication of DNA. So in case of DNA polymerase require 3' hydroxyl group free. So we'll see about it later on. Now students, these are the steps in replication. The first is activation of nucleotide, second is the point of origin or initiation of replication, then unwinding of DNA molecules and production of single-stranded DNA by single-strand DNA binding proteins, then formation of replication fork, then synthesis of new strand, leading and lagging strands, and formation of daughter molecules. Now let us start with activation of nucleotides. Now students, we know that DNA is made up of deoxyribonucleotides. So these nucleotides must be activated first. That is, they are in the form of deoxyadenosine monophosphate. They are first activated to deoxyadenosine triphosphate by using enzyme phosphorylase, and energy is coming from ATP. So second is deoxycytidine monophosphate is activated to deoxycytidine triphosphate. Deoxythymidine monophosphate is activated to deoxythymidine triphosphate, and deoxyguanosine monophosphate is activated to deoxyguanosine triphosphate. Now this activation is done by the enzyme called as phosphorylase. Now essentially there is a phosphorylation process involved in this, therefore the process is called as phosphorylation, and this phosphorylation is catalyzed by the enzyme called as phosphorylase. Now students, remember the names of the enzyme always come with the type of reactions they have, and here the process is phosphorylation. So if you add a suffix ASE, it becomes phosphorylase, and energy for this reaction is coming from ATP, that is adenosine monophosphate. So first step in duplication of DNA is activation of these monophosphate to triphosphates. Now second step involved in replication of DNA is that the replication should start at some point. So the point at which the replication of DNA starts, that is called as point of origin or initiation point. Now this is a double-stranded DNA. Now at some places the part of the DNA becomes single-stranded, so it forms a replication bubble here. So that is called as origin of replication. Now in case of say eukaryotic cells have many origin of replication, whereas in case of prokaryotic cell it has only one origin of replication. Now to understand the concept of this many origin of replication and one origin of replication, let us take example of this like construction of road which is from say Mumbai to Pune highway. Now this Pune to Mumbai express highway is around 180 km. Now suppose we want to complete this work of road construction in stipulated time. How many contractors we need? Now if we say employ only one contractor here, he will take many years to complete the construction of this road. So what the government must have done is like they must have employed many contractors to complete the construction of Mumbai-Pune highway. So same is the case with the long DNA which we have in eukaryotic cell. So when we start with replication at multiple points, we can complete the replication of DNA in stipulated period, say around 7 to 8 hours. Now in case of prokaryotic cell, as the DNA is very small, it has only one origin of replication. For example, if you want to construct say a road between Vimannagar to Kharade, it is hardly 2 kilometers. How many contractors you are going to appoint for the small work? One is sufficient, right? So here many contractors are required when the long road need to be constructed, whereas only one contractor is required to construct a road which is smaller, like say 2 kilometers. Now compare this analogy with the DNA size of eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cell. As eukaryotic cell is having large amount of DNA, therefore we require many origin of replication in eukaryotic cell and only one in case of prokaryotic cell. I hope you are understanding this. Now students, the first step in replication of DNA is converting double-stranded DNA into single-stranded DNA. Now this conversion of double-stranded DNA into single-stranded DNA is done by the enzyme called as helicase or unwindase. Now the tensions of the DNA are managed by the enzyme called as topoisomerase. Now due to conversion of double-stranded DNA into single-stranded DNA, there is a formation of replication fork, replication bubble. Now there are several replication bubbles in case of eukaryotic cells, whereas there is only one replication bubble in case of prokaryotic cell. Now what is the meaning of this? That in case of prokaryotic cell there is only one origin of replication, whereas in case of eukaryotic cell there are more than one origin of replication. Now due to formation of single stranded DNA, each DNA strand acts as a template, which is also called as mold or sacha in Marathi. Now to understand the same thing in a neat diagram now this is a double stranded DNA shown on the screen. Now out of two strands, one is the leading template with the direction of 3' to 5'. The other is the lagging template with the direction of 5' to 3'. Now based on the structure of this leading template and lagging template, we have say leading strand and lagging strand. Now this is a replication fork. Now in case of lagging strand, the lagging strands are formed by segments called as Okazaki fragments, and the initial part of the replication starts with the formation of primer. So this is a primer. Now students, we are going to learn all these terms one by one in latter part of this video. Now when double stranded DNA is connected to single stranded DNA, this single stranded DNA are protected by single stranded DNA binding proteins. Now they are essentially protecting single stranded DNA, therefore it is called as single stranded DNA binding proteins. Now after formation of single stranded templates, the picture of DNA polymerase comes. Now DNA polymerase help in polymerization of DNA. Here the word is DNA polymerase. The enzyme which help in polymerization of DNA is called as DNA polymerase. Now this DNA is formed from itself, or it can be produced from RNA. When DNA is formed from itself, it is called as DNA dependent DNA polymerase, whereas when DNA is formed from RNA, it is called as RNA dependent DNA polymerases. So we have two types of DNA polymerases, DNA dependent and RNA dependent DNA polymerases respectively. Okay, now this DNA polymerase has two conditions. Now what it says is that it will work only in 5 to 3 direction with respect to newly formed strand. So here the template strand is 3' to 5'. The template strand is 3' to 5'. So what the DNA polymerase say that I will work in 5 to 3 direction with respect to new strand. I'll work only in 5 to 3 direction with respect to new strand. And second, what it says, like it requires this 3' hydroxyl group to add the nucleotides. So it requires 3' hydroxyl group for addition of further nucleotide. Now as there is no hydroxyl group here to start with, so there is a need of primer formation. So what DNA polymerase says that it requires direction of 5' to 3' with respect to new strand, and second what it says, like it requires 3' hydroxyl group free end so that it can start the polymerization process. Now when double stranded DNA is connected to single stranded DNA, there are no complementary strands here, therefore there is a need of primer on which the DNA polymerase will work. So here what is happening now, the primer is formed. What is a primer? It is acting as a foundation. Now students, we know that when we paint the wall, we initially apply a coat of primer, 1 or 2 coats of primer, which act as a foundation for the latter coats of the paint. So here this primer is acting as a foundation for DNA polymerase. So here double stranded DNA is connected to single stranded DNA, and then second step is the formation of primer. So here RNA primer is formed by using the enzyme called as DNA dependent RNA polymerase. The enzyme which forms the polymer of RNA is called as RNA polymerase, and the template strand is DNA, therefore it is called as DNA dependent RNA polymerase. So here this enzyme, what it does, it will simply form these RNA primers U AG. A pairs with U, T pairs with A, C pairs with G. So this is a short stretch of primer which is formed because of the enzyme called as RNA polymerase. And why RNA primer is required? Because it is a need of DNA polymerase. Now what are the advantage of this RNA primer? It creates a foundation for DNA polymerase. It is one thing. Second is, as it is made up of RNA, it can be easily removed and it can be replaced by DNA. Okay, now once the double strand DNA is converted to single strand DNA and second primer is ready, what the DNA polymerase will do? It will simply start adding the nucleotide one by one and it start forming the polymer of DNA, polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. So this is a leading strand which is formed. This leading strand is also called as continuous strand, and this is the enzyme DNA polymerase which is adding these nucleotides one by one. Okay, now in case of the other strand of DNA, now other strand of DNA is what? The template strand is 3' to 5', so it will start replication in opposite direction. So this RNA polymerase will form this RNA primer first. So it is forming G pairs with C, A pairs with U, and T pairs with A. This is a short stretch of primer formed by RNA polymerase. Now once the primer is ready, then DNA polymerase will come here and it will start adding the nucleotides one by one. So it is forming the polymer of deoxyribonucleotides one by one. So I hope you are understanding the concept of replication in case of eukaryotic cells. So here first double stranded DNA is connected to single stranded DNA. Once single stranded DNAs are formed, single stranded DNAs are protected by single stranded DNA binding protein, then DNA polymerase require primer foundation. It is produced by RNA polymerase, and this is a primer produced, and then there is a polymerization of the leading strand. Now this is a lagging strand which is formed, which is also called as discontinuous strand. This discontinuous strands are formed by Okazaki fragments. It is discovered by the Japanese scientist called as Okazaki, therefore they are referred as Okazaki fragment. Okay, now in case of replication, once the replication of this part of the DNA is complete, then we don't require this RNA primer. Now this RNA primer is removed by the enzyme called as RNase. What they will do is, they will simply remove this RNA primer, and then this gap is filled by... Now students, once the primer is removed by enzyme called as RNase, then this gap of primer is filled by using the enzyme called as DNA polymerase. What the DNA polymerase will do, it will simply form the new stretch of DNA in place of RNA primer. So this is the formation of gap which is produced due to the removal of RNA primer. Now the ultimate bond between, say, this cytidine and guanosine is joined by the enzyme called as DNA ligase. So this is a covalent bond formed between C and G by the enzyme called as ligase, and the process is called as ligation. Now remember, the enzyme ligase is required only once on the leading strand, whereas it is required constantly for lagging strand. Now students, as the process of replication continues, as the daughter DNAs are formed, they start coiling simultaneously. So there is a coiling of newly formed daughter DNA strands which starts immediately after formation of daughter strands. Now next step is further uncoiling of parent strand to form template strand. Now this part of the DNA is doubled now. Now this part of the DNA is made single stranded so that this part of the DNA can also be duplicated. So this is the second replication bubble which is formed here. Now these DNA strand act as a template. Now students, when there is a polymerization of this replication bubble further, On the left side, the newly formed DNA is formed continuously. Therefore, it is called as continuous strand. Whereas on the other side, it is formed in bits and pieces. It is called as lagging strand. So here, one is leading strand and second is lagging strand. Lagging strands are produced by Okazaki fragments. Now, in case of leading strand, the primer and ligase enzyme is required only once, whereas in case of lagging strand, primer and ligase enzyme is required multiple times. Please remember this. Okay, now in case of eukaryotic cell, to summarize now, so this is a replication fork which are formed. Now here these are double-stranded DNA. Out of two strands, one is acting as a leading template, second is acting as lagging template. This is a replication fork formed. On one strand of DNA, on one template, one strand formed continuously, that is called as leading strand. On the other template, the DNA is formed in bits and pieces, that is called as lagging strand. This lagging strand is formed by using Okazaki fragments. Now this is a replication fork, and in the beginning we require primer as a foundation. Then we require single-stranded DNA binding proteins to protect the single-stranded DNA. So this is an outline of the entire eukaryotic DNA replication. Okay, now there are some differences between leading strand and lagging strand. Now leading strand is also called as continuous strand, lagging is also called as discontinuous strand. Leading strand is based on a template, that is 3 to 5 template strand. Lagging strand is based on template, that is 5' to 3'. In case of leading strand, primer and ligase is required only once, whereas in case of lagging strand, as the direction is opposite of DNA polymerase requirement, therefore primer and ligase is required constantly. Leading strand is formed faster as compared to lagging strand. Now to summarize again, these are various enzymes required for replication of DNA. Now topoisomerase is required to remove the tensions of the DNA. Helicase, which is also called as unwindase, will convert double-stranded DNA into single-stranded DNA. Single-stranded DNA are protected by single-stranded DNA binding proteins. RNA polymerase will form RNA primer. DNA polymerase 3 or DNA polymerase as such will form the polymer of DNA. This RNA primer is removed by enzyme called as RNase. The gap of RNA primer is filled by DNA polymerase 1, which is further joined by ligase. So students, I hope you are understanding the concept of replication in eukaryotic cells. In next video, we'll talk about replication of DNA in prokaryotic cell, and we'll also talk about the semi-conservative mode of replication which was put forth by Michelson and Stahl. And I request you all to like my channel, share it and subscribe it, and don't forget to press bell icon. And thank you for watching this video.